We are so back. Hello, hello, hello. It's been a while. Well, not really. I finished the other video and dropped that. So it's only been like a couple days. But for me, it's been like what, 2-3 weeks since I talked about this properly. So yeah. Born after the Apocalypse, chapter 159. Within his arms. By the way, I'm going to be covering this chapter and 160, which dropped this week on the 3rd or 4th of September. We get this nice little opening panel with Gawain. I'm not sure if that's current. I think that's younger Gawain. Well, maybe a current Gawain. I don't know. Who knows what kind of hairstyle she had as a Coco Melon. But we just have her on her bed with the moon in the back and her holding a book. Don't know why the moon's there, but you know, it's quite nice. I mean, we see the clouds as well, showing she's up in the sky well, anyways. We continue from where we left off with Donnie talking about the Anfuin Gladiator Festival and Gawain explaining that it's an event where those who again want to escape prison wager their freedom and fight each other. So the festival winner is granted both their freedom and a single wish from Beltripe himself. And we get this nice cool little panel of oh my dude, let me not go into my Beltripe glaze again. Enough of the community does that, so yeah. Just the two of them before a huge crowd of onlookers. And Percival goes on to say that would be a good chance to strike Beltripe, but Donnie counters saying that it would probably be when he's on his most guard. But Gawain says that he wouldn't, since he's a supremely arrogant man. And that's coming from Gawain. And Donnie says that as well, with Gawain knocking him upside the head, giving him for the upteenth time. So and goes to ask the way to reach Anfuin, with Gawain kind of hurt that she doubts her as well, but goes on to say that they'll use the boat to get there. But first, obviously, she says, why don't we fortify ourselves with a good meal? And you can't have fun in a fight on an empty stomach. So they are in her dining room with her calling out to her grandparents and saying that she wants her friends to eat to their heart's content, with Percival mentioning how he'll finally be able to eat some real food. Buddy hasn't eaten in 2 years, so. And goes on to ask why Kay isn't joining them, with Gawain speaking on how everyone eats when they want to, and that's the custom. And not that she knows why, but for her it's always been a tad awkward when she and her father are alone. And she goes on to say, let's talk about the others instead, with everyone staring at Percival because Gawain says, how are you going to join a gladiator festival when you're all but weaponless? Which is a point I made in the last video, that he will probably need a weapon. With Percival realizing that, oh yeah, I did kind of just come in at the spur of the moment and didn't really think much at all. With Nasian saying that they see no major issue, but Anne says not to spoil him. There's sweet interaction between the three of them. Gawain goes on to state that they're lucky to have come to her first though, since she'll be able to hook him up with some weapons. And then they hear a knock on the door, with Gawain instantly recognizing that it's her grandma. We get the door opens and we get this Dandadan-esque character design here. Gawain's grandma, which is a golem, but which freaks everyone out, as respectfully it should. Cause can you imagine going to your homie's crib, going down to eat, they call for the food, and the person bringing isn't even a human being but some wooden doll? I'd leave the crib to be honest, but Gawain plugs their ears and tells them to stop with the noise. The golem starts moving and spawns in the food right in front of everyone, and goes on to state that the menu for them is flying stingray in cream sauce, kraken salad, dusk bison steak, chicken matango pie, and bullberry cream pudding, because obviously Gawain is a pudding addict. Gawain, being the grateful grandchild that she is, says thank you to her grandma, and Donnie is shocked that the Dandadan creature is is the grandma that Gawain has talked about before. With Gawain's talking about how they'll take some post-meal tea as well, and then we hear someone laugh, and it is Gawain's Gramps, which is another golem with cutlery in hand, a dinosaur-esque golem. Sorry, I'm just as in shock. But yeah, he mentions how Grandma forgot the cutlery and brought some condiments as well, and he says hello to the Percival platoon and explains that he serves Gawain, the lady of the house. Donnie, look at the way Donnie's drawn. With Donnie being drawn the way he is, talking about how the bony guy is a golem too. With the grandpa being thankful that they're friends with Gawain to begin with, and that they'll continue to be good friends with her. With Gawain just getting them to get out. With the two golems leaving, and honestly, it may just be me, but I think these niggas are more than just golems. I might be tripping, but with the way Grandpa has been acting, maybe I'm looking too much into it. But yeah, Gawain chases them out, and they all begin to eat and invites them to start eating. With Percival mentioning what a curious set of grandparents Gawain has. I mentions that they're a bit scary at first, but with Donnie exaggerating on the fact that they were that they were terrifying to him. But yeah, they begin eating with that strawberry. This nigga Nakaba will have any chance he gets, but because that is obviously Hawk right there. And Gawain goes on to say that the food is the ultimate in gourmet cuisine from their in-house chef. With Percival curious that she has a chef as well. But moving on, the chef is mentioned to be an old friend of her grandma's who will be introduced later. And yeah, Percival continues to praise the food. Or is that Donnie from how Percival is saying, leave some of that for me. So we go on to see that the plates are completely empty, showing that the gang has completely stuffed their bellies. It's big back season, guys. Bulk season is right around the corner. Not even around the corner, it started. Donnie is stuffed to the point that he has a little beer gut, and mentions how that was like something out of a dream. With Nastians mentioning how Percival wasn't too bad a cook either.
Get off that nigga dick, bro. What is you doing?
With Anne wondering where Percival ran off to. With Donnie saying that he went to the washroom basically. But Gawain going to go look for him since he might have gotten lost in how large of a place it is. And Gawain flies around looking for him, mentioning how lost you could even get in this place. But I mean, for her, she's grown up here her whole life, so obviously she knows how to navigate this place pretty well compared to others. We go to Kay's farm, seeing him tend to one of the branches, cutting a branch off. With Percival walking up to him, with Kay asking if he came to stop him from reporting them to the authorities. With Percival mentioning how he's not really worried about that, and Kay questioning what brings him here then. And Percival goes on to say that obviously to ask if he's Arthur's brother, with Kay mentioning that it's not by blood. But Percival goes on to ask if he could tell him. Why can't I speak right now? What the heck? If he could tell him the kind of person that Arthur was, since they just know too little about him. So Kay begins to reminisce by beginning to say that he never had much love for him, and that when he was young, his father brought him back as a child and stated that they're brothers from now on, and that's how he met Arthur. He mentions how Arthur quickly got used to court life and won his father's love and the trust and respect of the nobles and servants as well, things which he didn't have at the time. And one day an oracle, who I believe is Merlin, arrived in Camelot with a sword embedded in a stone, which obviously we know is Excalibur, and said that anyone who pulled it out would succeed Uther, Kay's father, as the king. So every single knight from all around tried to pull the sword out, but no one got it to budge except Arthur, with barely any effort. And as we can see, we got Merlin in the back, and in the foreground you can see a young Ironside and Vargas, and Kay there as well. Kay mentions how he was so uneasy and the despair that he felt, and that not only would he have everything taken from him, but that he'd have to wait upon Arthur's hand and foot his entire life. So he tricked Arthur to give the sword to him which Arthur did. So, and Kay tried to claim to his father that he was the one who pulled it out, but the lie didn't last. But Kay mentioned that he shamed himself in front of him and was thrown in the dungeon. As we get this panel of how he was violently hit by his father for the lie, and Arthur, you can see Arthur trying to go help him, but that person there is stopping him. And yeah, he was thrown into the dungeon, and Arthur came to visit his cell with Kay ranting and raving to him, basically just insulting him and stuff. And Arthur just cries. My baby boy! And we learned that it was actually a sorcerer that saw Arthur draw the blade who exposed Kay's lie. So it wasn't him who told his father or anyone else about the lie that Kay wanted to fulfill. And in fact, Arthur tried to get him released and begged him to be let out, which is so sweet. Oh my days, man! This is why he was he was like top 5 characters. Okay, maybe not top 5, top 10. He was definitely in my top 10 OG Seven Deadly Sins characters. Oh my days, man! Arthur, my sweet boy. At one point, Kay's father stopped feeding him, but Arthur came to and brought his meals to feed Kay. Kay goes on to say that the kind of person Arthur is a king's a kind and noble king. But Percival, obviously immediately wondering what we're wondering, why isn't Kay gonna report them to him? And Kay mentions that the Arthur that they're seeing now isn't at all the Arthur that he knew, and that he would make any effort possible to get his old brother back, even if it means lending a hand to those hostile to him. Which, yeah, that's brotherly love, bro. Makes me think, like, is a cause of Arthur's change him just like maybe he like sealed away his emotions? Cause when he made Ironside and Pelagard like throat chaos, he talks about his intrepid human side. So like maybe like he did something like kind of like what the family heads in Tower of God did after what's her face got offed by Enkidu, where they sealed away their memories in like their own sort of storage system, except maybe Arthur did that with his emotions. So that was a Tower of God reference. I might have just spoiled a whole bunch of niggas on my days. I'm so sorry. Kay goes on to say to ask Percival to bring Gawain with him, that he kind of berates himself as a parent, that he's small, servile, clumsy, and not sure if he gave her enough of his love, but that she can at least be of some use to everyone in this journey. But Percival sort of is like, yeah, well, the apples you grew looked ugly but tasted good, and goes on to praise Gawain as a reliable person that he can trust all the way. With Kay going on to which gets a little nice reaction out of Gawain and Kay as well, which I think is quite sweet. With Kay going on to say that Percival's quite a strange young man, with Gawain agreeing with him, although they couldn't hear her since, she's in the sky. And that is the end of chapter 159. We got a little bit more on the backstory between Arthur and Kay, because in the OG Seven Deadly Sins, I think there was like one chapter mentioning him, or there was that one short chapter with him in it, like one of the volume extras or whatever. But we didn't actually get any sort of more information since he basically didn't show up in the OG. So this was nice, getting a bit more backstory between him and Arthur. Yeah, we got to see more of Gawain's family in the form of the golems, which again quite strange, but it is what it is. Quite nice. But yeah, that's 159. Let's move on to chapter 160, where we get this panel, which I believe is supposed to parallel a previous sort of cover image with him, like with 16-year-old Percival doing the same pose, except punching rather than flying. But this is 160, off to Anfoin. And the next page we got 3 distinct panels where we can deduce that Percival has told the others about Arthur's and Kay's relationship, with Anne going on to say that it's funny to think of Gawain's father doing that, and Narcians mentioning how that's not the image of King Arthur I had, with Percival agreeing on that front, with Donnie asking where Gawain's taking us this time, with with Gawain stating that they're gonna leave in an hour, so stop talking, just follow her. And once the ship leaves, they'll be over in Anfon in the blink of an eye, which makes me think: is it gonna like instantly teleport? Is it gonna be just like a crazy fast ride, like on some Millennium Falcon type shit, like with the light speed sort of movement, light speed travel? That's it. And but in the meantime, they gotta wrap up what they can here, finish all the side quests and shit. Seven Deadly Sins and Four Nights of the Apocalypse would do great as like open world games. I'm telling y'all, like on some, well, maybe not exactly like Dragon Ball Kakarot, but like what I mean, something akin to that, like some sort of action RPG. And they enter the room and instantly smell good food. When Nasian's mentioning that obviously it's a kitchen. So they look around, seeing all the pots and pans and all other stuff, with Gawain calling out to someone called Dubby, and apologizing to interrupt that while they're making dinner, with her mentioning that obviously, like, sorry, but I got stuff to do. With Donnie mentioning that Dubby is probably the chef that was mentioned before. And we get a look, and the chef says, I wish you wouldn't do this. And everyone looks to see a large person. If you watch the Seven Deadly Sins second movie,
that shit is a 2-pack of ass.
We all know this is Dubs, the master craftsman. So the one person that Lancelot had been searching for this whole time, and Meliodas said, "Don't leave it to me. I'll get Sword to look for him." Has been hiding out and going in one of the knights' homes this entire time. Well, Dubs goes on to state that I keep telling you not to interrupt my sanctuary without my okay. It's so upsetting. And everyone else is taken aback. This nigga Percival, bro, they can't keep their hands off him. Like, bro, look at this shit. And anyways, Gawain tells him to stop whitening, and mentions that they got urgent business. And Donnie's saying that Buddy's huge, with Dubs. I'm not sure if he's taking it as a compliment, but he does say that he is on the small side for his kind. And he looks at the timer and goes on about how he has to be very exact with the timing, and even though he's 10 seconds off with the food, he chucks it to start out again, and goes on to ask what they want, with Nasian's asking if he's from the Giant Clan, which obviously he is. And oh yeah, let me even mention, she still has her pre-time skip fit, Gawain, with the pants, the shoes, and the Merlin-esque coat, which is nice, I think. And goes on to say that Dubs is the pride of her household as a chef, and is also a hobbyist blacksmith, with Dubs correcting her, saying that his main job is blacksmithing and cooking is his hobby, and that he's forged the Seven Deadly Sins sacred treasures. And Gawain is taken aback by the information, and so is everyone else. And with Percival more so stating that like he's such a great chef, and it's just a hobby for him. With obviously Donnie saying, well, we're all probably thinking like, that's not the point, gang. Like, did you not just hear what he just said? And Percival asks again, with Anne saying that this is the man who made the coffin of eternal darkness and the thing that ended the Holy War 3,000 years ago, and that he is Dubs, the legendary craftsmith.
Oh my god, bro, is dick riding all you do?
No, I'm saying
you literally got that nigga dick in your mouth right now. I see it.
And goes on to state that is in shock at this information, that she had Dubs in her house this whole time, and that Dubs mentions that she gave him the nickname. And Percival goes on to wonder why Dubs rings a bell to him, with Donnie asking if his head is even okay. So Gawain wanted him to make some weapons for her and the gang, and perfectly suited for them, and asks if she can count on him, which he instantly says no. I'm not gonna lie, the Chibi Gawain panels have been I'm loving them. I am absolutely loving them. She goes on a little tantrum, talking about how a high chef refuses the commands of his masters, and Dubs goes on to remind her that he was hired as a chef, not a weaponsmith, and that he is not interested, and that money won't change his mind at all. Since I don't think giants really care for monetary. I mean, they were hired as barbarians though in the past. Anyways, with Percival mentioning how moody of a person he seems to be, and why on earth is Anne just hiding behind him like that? And Percival goes on to remember Oh no, Anne is saying that he's a moody guy. Well, Percival then just remembers that he's the world's famous blacksmith, with everyone dropping. And Percival goes on to explain that Lancelot had been looking for him to make so that he could make a weapon for him at least, and that they wouldn't need any because he's so magically powerful he can't find a weapon that can take the strain. And Dubs goes on to think about it. His weapons can't the fact that his weapons can't withstand his magic force, and that he is excited at that prospect. And Dubs goes on to do this really weird do hoo 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 laugh, and so he begins to get interested and sort of beckons Narcians forward, and he basically just harasses them, just gripping all over the body and shit, and even is able to figure out that Narcians' magic is a shifter and is an enchanter type, and recognizes that the necklace is from the sacred tree too. Narcians obviously wanting this to end and asks Dubs to stop. But Dubs explains that when making a weapon, he needs to not know just the height, weight, and muscle, but also the handedness and magic type, if any. With Percival asking if he's gonna make them after all, and Dubs goes on to say that he'd very much like to meet this Lancelot and make a weapon for him as well, but goes on to state that mention to him that I'll be here, and beckons Anne over, saying that she's next. With her obviously look at nonsense in the back. With her obviously not wanting to obviously be diddied like that. Obviously goes on to make quite an accusation at Dubs, but Dubs goes on to say that he doesn't care about living things, which makes me question quite a few things in terms of that. What do you mean you don't care about living?
What are we talking about?
What are we talking about?
And threatens that if he's lying that he'll pay, but nothing really happens. And Narcians mentions that Interrogator isn't going off at all, with Anne stating that it's kinda annoying that he means it, with Donnie stating that telling her to stop being so insecure and that he'll go first, with Dubs immediately asking him to go take a bath because he smells of sweat, probably from all the nervousness he's felt all day, with Donnie being quite upset at that. So a little time skip later, we get this little announcement: your attention please, we have finalized our route to the cauldron of Anfoin. And Percival hears that voice with Gawain stating that it is her grandma. Kay's just sitting down reading a book, so grandma goes on to state that they'll depart in 10 seconds. We expect turbulence to grab onto something solid. It's gonna be a rough ride, I can already tell. But Anne's saying that the grandma is the pilot of the ship, and Gawain goes on to say that yeah, this is pretty much a piece of cake since she was the one who taught her all of her magic. But with Percival surprised at that, and the place starting to shake as well, and poof! I thought it would zoom instantly, but it seems I was right on the teleportation guess. And then we cut to somewhere else, and we see a lady running, and she mentions how she spots a hole and mentions how she can hide in it. But then this giant monster just spawns in out of nowhere. But then we see a very, very, very familiar bat holding two very, very familiar swords. And instantly, that monster is filleted. That is my dinner for tonight, for sure. I think steak is on the menu. I can't remember. I saw it in the oven, I think. The very familiar person turns the monster into dinner. Sheaths the very familiar swords, and then a wave of hair, and the woman calls out to him, Tantris, with Tantris stating that there are sweeper beasts lurking all over the place, and that is dangerous for the woman to go out alone. She apologizing, but states that she wanted to pick some flowers. And Tantris mentions how dirty she is now, and mentions how he'd never want her to sully her soft hands for her, and reveals that it's Isolde. The woman is Isolde, which I honestly cannot believe. I truly cannot believe that. Look at her. Her eyes are different. Is that really Isolde? And states that she is his love. And we see that Tantris is Tristan, a very grown Tristan, who is missing his earring. Huh. So yeah, that's chapter 160 now, all done. Nice, another good chapter. We found Dubs. Unintentionally. Goey didn't even realize who he was. Kinda crazy. You lived with the nigga for 18 years. But that's besides the point. That's neither here or there. Now, this Tristan thing. I think I'm gonna go 0 for 3 here. I really do. But I'm gonna try and make the shot anyways. This is a Camelot illusion made by Isolde. Or no, it might not be. But if it is, I want there to be video evidence of me saying that it was, yeah? Every time I said that something is an illusion or it's a Camelot thing, I've been wrong about it. Percival coming back, Gawain, like, I gotta hit a shot at some point, but it is quite... This whole situation does feel quite off. Maybe Tantris is the alias that he's using at the moment, and since, like, Tantris does... If he rearranges it, is Tristan. So maybe it is a more thought up alias, because in Seven Deadly Sins, when they had to enter that festival to win Gideon, Meliodas and Ban literally just put Meliodafu and Ban. Like, they couldn't be asked to make names. But it seems Tristan just rearranged his names, and it'll be smart if it is an alias so that he can walk around Camelot a bit more. Because not everyone knows what Tristan Leonis looks like, and he doesn't have the earring that shows that he's Leonis royalty. So yeah, maybe he's just been undercover and stuff. Maybe I am right. Maybe it is a Camelot illusion for Isolde, and yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I saw someone say that Meliodas' genes didn't fight back at all. I can't. I kind of disagree with that for the sake that he does kind of look more like the grown, or he's looking closer to the grown Meliodas wanted poster, and how he looked when the Demon King possessed him as well. So maybe it's slower. Maybe the genes are slower. Maybe the Meliodas genes are slower. Wait till he puts on the demon mark. When he puts on the demon mark, then you'll see it come through. I'm telling you. That's gotta be weird to wield, because the Percival's the dragon handle is like Donnie. How is it gonna forge it to be a dual sword like how Mael and Esterosa are? Like, he has Esterosa, but the dragon handle isn't meant to be dual wielded. I guess it wasn't the blade for that wasn't forged with that in mind. So I wonder if that's caused any balance issues. Like, talking from a practical sword fighting standpoint, I wonder if it's just caused issues for him, like, to fight in terms of balance and shit. It is the reason that, like, they've had no contact with Tristan and the platoon is because him and Isolde have had this little honeymoon for the past year or some shit. If that's the case, then he really can't berate Percival for leaving them. But we won't know till next week's chapter. I don't really have much thoughts, but in terms of this, but we'll probably end up seeing Shion next chapter. Yeah, we'll probably end up seeing Shion. They're probably gonna start making their way to Anfuin. If this already isn't Anfuin, and that's why we're seeing this. Ooh, what if this is a Camelot illusion, but caused by Anfuin, and it's supposed to cause turmoil? We're seeing a happy moment, but then something's gonna happen where that version of Isolde's gonna die. And let me stop. It's like, I want to say it's a Camelot illusion, I really do, but the thing that is throwing me off is A, dragon handle, B, no earring, and why? And obviously that earring was quite precious to him, precious to all of the Leona's it shows that he's Leona's royalty. So why would he take it off, apart from trying to fit in with everybody else at Camelot? I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm not gonna rave too much. Again, sorry for being gone for so long. This video is gonna be on the longer side to make up for that. But I'm back. Till next time, guys. I will see you for chapter 161. And yeah, keep it real.